What's going on, guys? So the House of Representatives has voted to put Trump in a peach for the second time, okay? And since I've been saying since the beginning of all this talk, the real goal here is not to stop the incitement of violence. They clearly know that this is going to add simply more division to the country. The goal here isn't even to stop Trump. The real goal is to crush Trumpism. Okay, it's not so much about Trump, it's the ideas that Trump brings to the table, and it's the base around Trump, okay? That's who they're really after. You guys might remember this meme. This meme is like 3-4 years old at this point, but I think it's just perfect for the situation. Like, this could never be truer. In reality, they are not after Trump. They are after us, and they are after what we stand for, okay? Now, the thing is, it's disappointing but not surprising to see so many establishment Republicans join this rally cry to basically try to purge Trumpism from the political mainstream. You have this list of House Republicans led by Liz Cheney that voted to impeach Trump. Now, supposedly Mitch McConnell supports impeachment, although that does come from an insider source, so I don't know the reliability of that. But regardless, I do believe Mitch McConnell is a swamp creature that ultimately wants to see Trumpism purged from the Republican Party. And you know, today I saw this guy, Matt Convert, who's like one of the top conservatives on TikTok, make this video right here, where he basically says the GOP is going to die because people can't move on from Trump, and he captions it something like, "Sorry guys, Trumpism is not the future of the GOP, don't at me, but sorry Matt, I will at you here, okay?" Because this is an open message to all of the establishment Republicans who are trying to join in the effort to purge Trumpism from the party. Listen to me. This is not even a threat. This is an assessment. You guys will never win a national election ever again without Trumpism, okay? And let me explain why. And honestly, we could sit here and debate whether or not Trumpism is morally and ideologically superior to the Republican establishment of old. I could sit here and try to tell you, hey, all the MAGA people are not going to show up to vote for you unless you embrace MAGA, which is true. But I actually want to frame this discussion in literally the most practical, pragmatic way possible, which is this. It is electorally impossible for any Republican candidate, like fraud talk aside, it is electorally impossible for any future Republican candidate to win without some brand of Trumpism, and let me show you why, okay? Because if we know anything about the establishment Republicans like Mitch McConnell, it's that they really don't stand for much. They're frankly just power hungry and they want to hold on to power. So let's actually talk about this in ways that appeal to someone like Mitch McConnell, and I'm not saying Matt, I'm not saying you're just power hungry, okay, but in general, let's do this. So let's start by actually analyzing the Republican Party of old, okay? So let's take a look at the 2004 electoral map, okay? So this is obviously George Bush's re-election, the last time a Republican won the presidency before Trump. Okay, now you take a look at this map, you notice that it was a very close election, but let's look at what is different with electoral politics today as compared to back then, as compared to the GOP of old. And the two first things I realized immediately right off the gate is that Nevada and Virginia, which went Republican back then, by the way, Virginia used to be a very Republican state, you guys. Virginia and Nevada are now solidly Democrat states, okay? And you also see that in the modern day, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina have become completely purple toss-up swing states every single year, and Texas is slowly headed in that direction, okay? Remember that, because let's compare that to the electoral map of 2016, okay? Let's look at Donald Trump's election. So, immediately right off the gate, what you notice that's different about what gave Donald Trump his victory is these Midwestern states up here, okay? Unlike Bush, Trump wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and he almost won Minnesota, okay? Only lost by like 20,000 votes. Now, when we analyze this mathematically, we realize that without having Virginia and Nevada go Republican, it is literally impossible for Republicans to ever win an election without winning one of these four Rust Belt states up here, okay? But especially when you got states in the modern day like Arizona and Georgia turning more and more blue, it becomes ultimately clear. Going forward, it will be impossible for Republicans to ever win a national election ever again without winning these Rust Belt states. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, okay? Now, the reason why these Midwestern states are now battlegrounds for the GOP, whether or not the establishment GOP wants to hear it or not, I think even they know it's true, is because of Trumpism, okay? Trump, and more importantly, Make America Great Again, Trumpism, his ideology, is the reason why these Rust Belt states are now Republican. It is the same reason why non-Trumpism candidates and establishment GOP candidates have struggled so hard to actually win here. And look, with the exception of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota were never considered battleground states at any point of the 21st century before Trump came along, okay? But when you do the math, you simply do the math. And again, I'm not saying Trumpism is right, Trumpism is wrong. I think Trumpism is right. But from a mere practical standpoint, okay, establishment GOP, literally, you look at this map, you realize you cannot win any future elections without winning these Midwestern states. And let's ask ourselves, why does Trumpism appeal in the Midwest? Well, it's simple, okay? The sort of working class populism that Trump brings, especially on the issues of trade and immigration, but overall, this feeling, this sense of the GOP becoming a working class party, that and that alone is the reason why Republicans are now competitive in these states, okay? Like, I hate to break it to you guys, but the old Republican message does not appeal to the industrial workers, the union workers, the blue-collar workers out there, that Republicans going into the future will now need to win in order to win national elections. So to the people saying that Trumpism needs to be purged for the party if the party wants to survive, I'm sorry, but you're straight up wrong here. And that's not me it's not me turning this into a matter of opinion as to what I want to see the Republican Party stand for. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the elections, and I'm looking at the math, and I think the conclusion is pretty clear. No, actually, without Trumpism, literally the Republican Party does not survive, okay? And I'm not here saying you will never purge Trumpism from the Republican Party, because it's very possible that the establishment actually does succeed in kicking this stuff out. But the establishment might win in kicking out Trumpism, but they will not win in winning national elections if that's their strategy, okay? You need Trumpism. Like any political consultant trying to tell you that, guys, we need to get rid of Trumpism in order to... Just ask them what in the hell they're talking about. Because you clearly need this Make America Great Again message to win future elections. Now, I think it's a much more fair and open question whether or not should we run Trump again in 2024, or should we choose someone that's Trump-like but not quite Trump, like Ron DeSantis or someone like that, right? I think that's a fair question. Should we run Trump again? But the question of should Trumpism remain the driving factor in the Republican Party, I think the answer is a pretty clear yes. And I know that the establishment GOP has a lot of ulterior motives in wanting to try to purge Trumpism. For example, Trump doesn't invade enough countries, okay? Trump isn't totally going to be complicit in selling out our country to China and Mexico and all these places, right? I get it, and that's a big reason why I want to primary out a lot of these establishment GOP politicians. But the utter reality is this, okay? I know more than anything else, people like Mitch McConnell just crave power, okay? That's how they are. They're total sociopaths, okay? And let me put the ultimatum on all of you guys, all the establishment GOP. I don't care what you think, because I know what you believe and I don't agree with it, okay? But let's just be practical with one another for a second. If you want to win national elections ever again, you need Trumpism, okay? You may not need Trumpism to win a certain congressional race here, and you might not even need Trumpism to win Senate races in certain seats, but if you ever want to win the presidency ever again, which honestly, it's not looking good, but if you ever want to win the presidency ever again, you cannot drop the ideas of Trump's 2016 campaign. In fact, if anything, you need to double down on them. Trump's America First message is the future of your party, whether you like it or not, okay? And unless you, A, want to just lose all of these Midwestern people, but also, B, lose a lot of those Make America Great Again people to some third party they might go form, you need to adopt this stuff, okay? And I know you're not happy about it. Like Mitch McConnell, I know you want to get rid of the legacy of Trump as much as possible, but for your sake, I'm not making a threat. I'm making an assessment here. For your sake, if you ever want to hold power ever again, like, you better get on board with this stuff. So it's not surprising that the liberal mainstream is trying to purge Trumpism from the political mainstream. But for all of the establishment Republicans, you better not join in this effort to try to purge Trumpism, because it's not going to work out well for you, okay? So anyways, guys, that'll do it here for this video. Remember to subscribe to my Telegram and my Rumble, because literally Instagram is threatening to delete my account right now, and I'm sure YouTube's not far behind. So be sure to go down in the description and click all the links that say free speech social medias, and be sure to follow those. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Remember, alpha moves only, and
Maga gang, CAD gang, you know it's the same thing. And I'm on the right side, you know I can't lane change. They say I'm too